Welcome to this week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I'm joined today by Kyle Bergeron, President of First Business Bank Equipment Finance. Thanks for joining me, Kyle.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you on the program, man. Congrats. I think before we hit record, you said next week is first year in the
That's
president
correct.
role of the organization. So congrats on that. And I'm sure we'll be reflecting on, not only your career journey, but what the last 12 months was like over the next few minutes here. So, Kyle, for the people who haven't had a pleasure of meeting you, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself and your career to date in equipment finance?
Sure, absolutely. As you said, my name is Kyle Bergeron. I'm the president of the Equipment Finance Division of First Business Bank. Been in that role for almost a year now. Next week will be 1 year. I kind of fell into equipment finance like a lot of people by accident. I was working at Fannie Mae in their capital markets division, and I got recruited for Blue Bridge Financial. Uh, I was presented with the opportunity to build out a capital markets operation at Blue Bridge, which was a small ticket independent originator. And it sounded really interesting. So I made the jump and have been in equipment finance now for 10 years, 9 of which was at Blue Bridge and now 1 year at First Business Bank. I enjoyed my time immensely at Blue Bridge as I got to learn all facets of equipment finance, working for a small independent. As a lot of people know, when you're working for one of those types of shops, you get to wear many hats. So when I started, I was really heading up kind of our loan sale division, doing portfolio sales, getting to meet lots of people in the industry. And over the years, I kind of dabbled in a little bit of everything. I ran their financials, I worked in their operations, did a little bit of credit. So really got to see the whole front to back, soup to nuts of the equipment finance, especially when you're talking about small ticket. From there, a year ago, I got the opportunity to come over to First Business Bank as a newly created position, the president of equipment finance, and it's been fantastic. The people, the team that I inherited is amazing. We're very similar in that we are a small ticket, primarily focused shop, but we have the support of a mid-sized bank, FDI insured, publicly traded, behind us. So it's definitely different, but it's been a real great learning experience as well.
Perfect, perfect. And then when you were at Blue Bridge, because you're in Virginia, right?
I am, yes.
So did
So
you
that
have
was,
to
yeah.
constantly go up to Buffalo and you just chose like this time of year to go up there because it's nice and warm?
Yeah, when I started, yeah. So Blue Bridge was founded in Buffalo, New York, and when I started, there was a couple of guys that had bought into the company through an equity raise, and they took positions within the company, and they were in the DC market, and they hired me, as one of the first Virginia-based hires. And at the time, I think when I first started, we didn't even have an office in Virginia. I ended up working out of one of those Regis rent an office. It was an interior office, no windows, like a 10 by 10 square room. And I worked there for about 6 months until we finally got an actual office space. And yeah, I was going up to Buffalo pretty regularly. It was interesting though. Every time I got stranded in Buffalo, it wasn't because of the weather in Buffalo. It was always because of the weather in DC. They know how to handle the snow up there. And so
Hmm.
yeah, we had about 35 people in the Buffalo office when I started. Um, but over the years, a lot of that operations got migrated down to Virginia. Virginia became the headquarters. I don't know, 6 years ago for Blue Bridge, and they really expanded the operations to the point where when I left Blue Bridge, almost all of the operations were focused out of the Virginia office. They opened a California office as well. So I switched traveling to Buffalo and started traveling to Orange County, which is a lot longer of a flight, but a little bit nicer weather. Um, and so yeah, that was a great experience to get to see that kind of migration and the changing of the offices to bring everything to Virginia.
Sure, sure. Well, thank you for that background. I mean, I'm from upstate New York, so I can quasi pick on Buffalo.
Yeah. Well, now I'm headquartered out of Madison, Wisconsin, with the majority of my people in the Milwaukee area. So I get to go out there pretty much monthly. And this time of year, it's just as cold as Buffalo in that area.
Say, can a Florida bank ever call this this what?
I don't know. I don't know what my luck is, but I get to experience the cold. So
Well, and just throwing this out here, I mean, I can't say every bank, the majority of banks have some presence out by me, just as an excuse to come to Arizona whenever they want. So just throwing it out there. Throwing
well, I mean, that would definitely be a nice change of scenery. Um, but you know, we the bank's been around for 35 years. It was founded in Madison, Wisconsin, with the idea of serving businesses in the Wisconsin area, and so I think they're pretty happy where they are.
Perfect. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Do you mind just kind of introducing the bank? I know we talked about you guys being a small ticket shop. Um, Anything else in regards to First Business Bank? Wow.
Yeah, so First Business Bank is a little bit unique in that it is truly a business bank. They were founded to really serve businesses rather than consumers, and it was founded, as I mentioned, 35 years ago. Over the years, with the focus being on the Midwest, the Wisconsin markets, and then over the years they developed specialty finance divisions within the bank. So they now offer equipment financing, SBA, asset-based lending, inventory financing, and accounts receivable financing, as well as their core commercial offerings. Um, yeah, it's strong, stable, trusted is really the motto that we go by. FDIC insured and publicly traded on NASDAQ.
Perfect. And then from an equipment finance perspective, you mentioned small ticket transactions. Any particular assets you guys are going after?
We're generalists. We are heavily focused on kind of a lot of the same core industries that most people in the small ticket world are focused on, which is construction, manufacturing, medical, agriculture, automotive aftermarket is kind of another one for us. Pretty much anything outside of transportation at the moment. That's the one area we are kind of stepping back away from, as most people in the market have over the last couple of years. We are focused on the small ticket. However, we do have the ability to go into the middle market. We have the backing of the conventional bank to really support us if we need to go above the small ticket space as well.
Perfect. And direct, indirect.
We do a combination, yeah. So the equipment finance team was really started with the focus of serving vendors. And so we've partnered with a number of vendors, but over the years, we've also expanded to work with third party origination companies as well. So we do a little bit of both.
Really able to bring that experience with you from Blue Bridge there to immediately, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's been a help because while I was at Blue Bridge, I certainly got to know a lot of people who were third party originators and got to learn that world quite in depth. And so a lot of my contacts I'm able to still maintain today. And I will say I've been blessed with inheriting a sales team that has a plethora of experience. I think we did the math the other day, and between all the people on my sales team, we have over 200 years experience in the equipment finance space. So we have a lot of people that have been in this space for quite a while.
That's fantastic. And no offense to First Business Bank, but until you went there, I never heard of them. So
right,
that's
and that's because up until more recently, it really has been focused on strictly vendor origination channel. It's really only been about the last 3 years that we've expanded into other potential origination channels, and I think you're going to hear more from us in the future. I think we're going to be out there a little bit more. And we've got some people that we've been able to bring on board that have quite a bit of experience. So the team's still relatively new to First Business Bank, but not new to equipment finance.
so from a question I like to ask a lot of people, especially the office is in Madison, you're in Virginia. I know you have young kids. What's that like, Kyle, from a work-life balance perspective? Is there work-life balance? Probably not. But like, how does that factor in?
Yeah, what I'll say is traveling's obviously hard. I never want to be away from home if I can help it. But at the same time, the bank is so supportive and great about culture. They really value their employees and they want people to have that work-life balance. What's unique for me is I'm now working from home primarily, as my entire team is. So while we have locations, the entire equipment finance team is predominantly remote based. So we don't have dedicated office space for the team. We have the ability to use space when we want to when we get together, which is generally when I'm in town. I make everybody go into the office and spend some
Sure.
time face to face with me. Uh, but the bank has been fantastic about making sure that people have the support they need to balance that, work and life. And when I was at Bluebridge, I was on site in office every day, which I actually enjoyed. Uh, but now I'm working from home and it's been a little bit different, but at the same time, it's been fantastic because it does allow me to still, my kids get home from school. I go downstairs, spend 10 minutes with them, get to hear about their day, then come back up, finish my day. And, I'm still home for dinner every night. So it's been a good experience.
Thank you for sharing that. And then from a, you know, going from an independent to a bank, from a capitalization perspective, I'm sure that's a lot, makes your job a lot easier than, constant securitizations or, money raises, and et cetera. Just those things that independents have to deal with.
Yeah, I will say it. I don't know if it's made it easier. It's made it different.
Different.
The
Okay.
things that you're focused on as an independent and that you stay up at night worrying about are very different from those when you're, with an FDIC insured bank. Uh, However, there's still a lot of things that, when you're regulated, you need to go
Well,
through
yeah,
a lot more
right.
compliance audits. There's a
Audit.
lot more of that type of work than when you're an independent. So you just kind of shift one for the other.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, there's red tape with banks. I get that. I get that. Sure.
The nice thing about us is we're we're a small enough team that while we have the support and the structure of a bank and the capitalization of a bank, we are still small enough with our partners that we can give them custom service. So, at First Business Bank, we pride ourselves that we are still doing common sense approach underwriting. Everything's manually underwritten. We're not, just okay. We're a bank. Here's our policy, and that's it. We still can work with our partners, our vendors, and get them the types of service they're expecting from us.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I guess just an industry discussion. So are you guys tasked this year to grow or maintain kind of what you guys did last year? I was in Minnesota a couple weeks ago, and you know, last year it was really depressing talking with some of the banks where it's like, no, we're not growing at all because I think they're still dealing with some liquidity stuff. This year
Sure.
was a little bit more refreshing where it's like, no, we're conservative for a while. Now it's ready to continue to put some stuff back on the books and go from there.
Yep, we grew last year. We are planning on growing again this year. We have a plan of conservative but sustainable growth. Um, our team is a little unique in that I would say we experienced tremendous growth over the last 4 years, with last year being the year where we finally kind of reached sustainable, normalized growth. We kind of had the hockey stick up until last year, and then we obviously took a step back from some industries, as everybody else did when the trucking market kind of had some difficulties, and from there we focused on other areas. We still we're able to achieve our goal for growth for the year, which is a testament for the sales team and our credit team to make sure that we were able to still originate even though we had to pull back from some of the other areas.
Sure. And what's your total origination volume?
Last year, so we've ranged between 160 and 200 million over the last several years.
Okay.
And I think we're going to be somewhere in that neighborhood this year as well. Um, our book, though, has grown over the years. 5 years ago, I think it was a $60 million book. because really the equipment finance group really only started in about 2018 in its current form with the bank, and it's grown quite a bit. In the last 3 years, it just grew tremendously. I think it doubled 1 or 2 of those years, and then we're up north of 300 million at this point of our book.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then, kind of talking through the equipment finance industry. So when they brought you on to run that, I guess, build a capital markets arm for Blue Bridge, like, what were your thoughts on this industry? I mean, obviously you built a really big program there, just based on the partners that I know that Blue Bridge has on that side. So what was that like, Kyle, entering this industry? And I guess, what are your thoughts on the equipment finance industry?
It was very different. I'd come from Fannie Mae, where their book of business was gigantic, and you're looking at totally different types of assets. The mortgage world is very different from the equipment finance world. But what I discovered really quickly is that people that get into this industry stay in this industry, and it's such a tight knit community. And after a few years, I started recognizing people. I started getting more and more comfortable. I started going to more and more events, and it's really been such a great experience getting to know different people and grow in this industry and become hopefully a regular now. Where I go to one of these events, and it's like going back to a high school reunion almost. You see people you haven't seen for a while, and it's like no time has passed. You catch up on everything. And what's nice is I have the ability to pick up the phone and just call anybody in this space, and people are always willing to help. So I've loved my experience with equipment finance, and I'm definitely going to be in it for life at this point.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. And that's common feedback that we get, but I like to talk about that because when we're watching these, it's like, why do we love this industry so much? And you just kind of hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, it's got to be the people. The people are great.
You didn't get the same attention when you were at Fannie?
So yeah, I mean, Fannie's a little different, especially when going from Fannie, where you got 4,000 people in the DC market working, and then I go to a company where I'm the only one in Virginia, and then we build it out slowly but surely. It was a very different experience, but I'll say, my time at Blue Bridge was fantastic learning experience. I got to work with some fantastic people and learn a ton. Rob Snow, who's the chief credit officer over there, was great mentor to me. Steve Davinas is the CEO, and very, very smart guy. Really had a vision for what he wanted for that company. I know you had Hannah on here not too long ago, and she and I worked together for years, and it was great working with her as well.
Yeah, good group for sure. Actually, I think I'll see them in Vegas this weekend for
excellent
finance.
Yep. I'm sure they'll be there. Yeah. They closed that securitization right around the time that I actually moved on, so I was there for that as well.
Those sound exciting, but nerve-wracking at the same time.
They certainly are. Absolutely.
So I guess if you've got a couple minutes, let's just reflect on kind of when you got the call to, okay, now I can run the equipment finance division. I guess reflecting on that decision 12 months later, like, what were the first 12 months like, Kyle?
It's been exciting. As I mentioned, the team here is fantastic and very supportive. I was nervous coming in because I didn't really know what to expect, and going from Blue Bridge, where I had that support system of Rob and Steve, who I worked with, to really getting handed the reins to drive the growth of this business, was a little bit nervous. But it's been tremendous. My current boss, Mark Malloy, has been fantastic mentor to me here, and the bank is really supportive. Everybody from the senior management to the HR to the talent acquisition team has given me everything I've ever asked for in terms of support. And that has been the biggest help for me, is having the people here who I can rely on, and even just pick up the phone and say, I just need you to listen to me and tell me if I'm, on the right path here. And so I would say I wouldn't trade that for anything right now, because having the people here that I can rely on has made it a lot easier for me to achieve my goals in 12 months. And the team that we have on the equipment side is great. They're experienced. Stu Goddard is really running my operations for me and has been a fantastic resource to have under me and work with me as a partner. And so I'm just glad that I inherited such a great opportunity and was very lucky that I got the chance.
Perfect. Butterflies first couple weeks.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, you're always, get a little of those butterflies when you walk into a new role and you don't know the people, and especially coming in as a leadership role and everybody's looking at you and wanting to know, well, what is your philosophy? What is your ideas? What are you going to do? And I'm sure they're all nervous about, what does this change mean for us? And so, really the first couple of weeks, we're just trying to get to know the people and make sure I know them as people. The First Business Bank has a really great culture about caring about its people, and they want everybody to be a team player, and that's first and foremost what they strive for, is a team atmosphere. And they don't just preach it, they live it here. And so we've really got a great team, and I love the culture.
Fantastic. I always ask those questions because it's you can read different books, listen to audiobooks, or just understand other different approaches to leadership. But until you're kind of thrown in that role, it's like, all right, let's see how this goes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean,
Uh,
it's actually with the bank, it's the ideal team player is kind of, it's a book that everybody at the bank reads, and it really speaks to the culture, and it's how to make everybody, you know, cognizant of their teammates and working together for a common goal. And the motto that the book leads is hungry, humble, and smart. And people live that every day here.
it's awesome. I'll have to remember that one and add it to the audio stuff as I'm going on walks.
Absolutely, it's a good book. Very good for anybody
Um,
looking to build a team.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for sharing that, Kyle. So I ask everyone who comes on here to give me a fun fact about themselves. So I guess what makes Kyle tick outside of working in equipment finance?
Yeah. So yeah, I guess something interesting. I grew up as a competitive downhill skier and sailor, which is a little bit different. To the point where I actually sailed competitively in college. And interestingly enough, that's how I met my wife. We were both on the sailing team together.
Yeah,
We ended up winning a national championship while we were there, which was fantastic. And a lot of my close friends still are people I met through that network of sailing. Sailing is a lot like equipment finance. It's a very small world, and so when you meet people, it's very unique.
sure. Sure. Where was the race that you won?
So we sailed. It was actually the national championship. So there's sailing's a little bit different in that they have a few different events, kind of like track and field. If you think about it, there's like different disciplines, and over the course of the entire year, whichever school has basically the best results in all of them wins the national championship, and we won it one year.
It's fantastic. So do you have a row machine at your house for the kids then? Start them young, keep them
No,
on a
no.
boat,
So
some kind of, I know
yeah,
it's rowing is different than sailing, but
we put the kids in some sailing lessons. They took some last summer actually, so we'll probably get them on the water more and more. Um, we try and get at least on the water as much as we can, but it's a little bit tougher where we are now. I still have family up in the Massachusetts area, which is where I grew up, and my mom lives on Cape
Okay.
Cod, which is where I grew up sailing. So
Huh?
we visit her every summer and get the kids on the water as much as we can.
Fantastic. I know Normandin is into that pretty good. I want to say
Yeah.
there's at least one other person I've spoken with that enjoys to do competitive sailing as well. So,
Okay. Excellent.
yeah. All right. And then, Kyle, my last question I have for you is why should someone want to do business with Kyle Bergeron, First Business Bank with Finance?
I think it really comes down to how we want a partnership with people. We want to be partners. We want to provide good service. We want to be a common sense approach lender that can really help you get whatever you need to get done. So we're small enough still where we really value the partners we have, and we're always looking to make it the best possible partnership we can make it. So if you come to us and you want to talk about an issue you're having, if you want to talk about potential opportunities, we can sit there and listen, and we're still small enough where we can adjust on the fly. We can create customized solutions. However, because we are part of a bank, we have that backing where we're stable. There's no risk involved with us. We're not going to be here today, gone tomorrow. We are in it for the long haul, and we're able to provide those solutions and that service with that stability.
Perfect. Well, congrats again on the first 12 months. Cheers to a, continual success in 2025, Kyle.
Thank you,
And,
Jesse.
I look forward to our paths crossing sometimes over the next couple of months here, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right. You have a good day, man. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks.